Hey, what's good? Coach Colin Castello with ShotMechanics Basketball, and today we're going to talk about James Harden's hidden talent that allows him to be unstoppable and how you can put it in your game. All right, so James Harden is an absolute master at one thing better than pretty much any other NBA player. And it's not about jumping higher, and it's not about explosive dunking, and it's not even about shooting or anything skill related specifically. But instead, James Harden is the best at deceleration. Now, deceleration basically is just a fancy way of saying stopping, meaning that James Harden stops better than any other player in the league. Now, it's really interesting. He went and had a lot of athletic testing done at a place called P3. It's a performance place where they've tested hundreds of professional athletes, hundreds of NBA players to see, how they move, how they jump, how, their bodies work. And what they found was James Harden was mediocre in pretty much every single category athletically except stopping, where he ranked in the 99th percentile, meaning he was one of the best athletes on the entire planet Earth at stopping his momentum. Now, the reason why this is so important is if you think about James Harden's game, right, he's the master at stopping on a dime, getting separation for his jump shot or another wicked crossover. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down how he's able to do that. That way you can add that deceleration to your game and get that separation just like James Harden. But stick around to the end of the video because we've got something free that you're not going to want to miss. So you're going to want to check that out. All right, so the question is, how do you decelerate better? Now, there's two main keys. There's two main keys that if you can add this to your movement pattern and to your game, you're going to be able to separate a lot better and stop on a dime, letting your defender fly by. So the very first key that we want to think about is anytime you're trying to slow your momentum, right? Anytime I'm coming into a pullback or a step back or a side step or something like that, I want to make sure that my balance is in the right spot. Right? So what you notice with James Harden is most of the time when he's getting ready to stop into some sort of move or combination, when he's stopping, his nose is going to be over his knees, right about here in this position, nose over knees. What a lot of players make a big mistake and why they're not as efficient at stopping is because their nose gets outside of their center of gravity. So if my nose goes forward and I'm too far past my knee, my momentum is going to be hard to stop because it's going to want to carry forward. If I try to stop and my nose is too far back or my head's too far back, I'm not going to have that explosive power in my stopping as well. So think about no matter what you're doing, if you're going with your left foot stop or right foot stop, if you can keep your nose over your knees and keep that center of gravity nice and balanced, it's going to be a lot easier to transfer your momentum and change direction fast and efficiently. All right, so the next thing that really helps James Harden on this stopping ability is that he engages his glutes. And by glutes, I mean your butt, right? The whole thing about your glutes are they're a really powerful muscle. And so if you can use them in your stopping and your separation, you're going to have better stopping and separation, right? So as I'm getting ready to stop, if my nose are over my knees, I want to make sure that I'm sitting that position a little bit lower, right? If I'm stopping, I can still get my nose over my knees and be kind of straight up right here. But if I sit down to my nose over knees, I can really engage my glutes, and that means that they're ready to fire back out of it. So if you watch James Harden on all these like step backs and pullbacks, when he's planning, he's getting a nice deep squat here with his knee. That way his glutes get engaged so he can use those glutes to fire into his move, right? A lot of players have a great setup to a move, a great combination to a move, and then they get to the actual push off for the separation and they just don't have it. And a lot of times it's because those glutes don't fire. Now, one thing to make really sure, and it's super important, is you want to work your glutes on both legs, right? So you want to work on pushing off of your left leg just as much as you work on pushing off your right leg, because a lot of players will get used to doing one dominantly, and that's why they can only separate one direction, right? So if you're doing weightlifting or plyometrics, make sure you're working both sides of your glutes. That way you can stay explosive both directions. All right, so the next thing that can help you with your deceleration is keeping your heels off of the ground. And let me talk about it here for just a second. As I'm getting ready to change directions, let's say I'm going into a pullback here. When I'm throwing my front shoulder, I'm getting my nose over knees, I'm activating my glute, I'm all good. But right here, if I can keep my heel off of the ground just a little bit, it doesn't have to be a ton, I don't have to be way up here, as long as it's just hovering off the ground just a little bit, that means that I'm gonna be springy in my movement out of that stop, right? A lot of players make the mistake when they're doing their move and they're using their deceleration that their heel actually plants into the ground. And when their heel plants into the ground, it's a lot harder to gather back their momentum to get that separation. So they might be able to stop quickly, but they can't explode out of that stop, right? So most of the time, basketball is about a two-movement combo. You got to stop and react, stop and react. And so if we can stay off of our heel and use the power pad of our foot off by the balls of our foot, it's going to help you be a lot more explosive into your moves. All right, if this video helped you out, hit that like button and then head to the comment section down below and let us know what sort of video you want to see next. We're always checking those comments to see what sort of content we should make. And if you're new to ShotMechanics, hit that subscribe button because we're only going to get you better. Also, if you're new, click the top link in the description down below and join our East Bay Virtual Training Center brought to you by my guys over at East Bay, where we've got tons of free training, tons tons of free workouts, drills based around your favorite superstars and their signature shoes. So they sent me over this brand new pair of Hardens. I absolutely love them. So all you've got to do is click the top link in the description down below and get a ton of free training from me and our guys over at East Bay. I'll see you there. Until next time, I'm Coach Colin Castella. Splash on.